one moment because you might not be able to hear me. Okay, I think you can hear me. Okay, I think you can hear me. But not static. Alright, I'm looking, let's see. I'm so sorry, because we gotta do yesterday's devotions all over again. Let's see. I'm so sorry, because we gotta do yesterday's devotions all over again. I know there's feedback right now. No, I have to do it like here. No, I can do it here. I know there's feedback right now. No, I have to do it. I have to see the comments. Alright, so yes, I was checking on the devotions for yesterday to write them down, and I noticed there was no volume at all. I might have hit the mute button, and I apologize for that. I'll be checking on that. Oh. There we got live chat back. So that's good. Okay, so I think my iPhone's did very dim. Where's the... Probably at that. It's sideways in the film. Oh well, it's very dim. Oh, it's back. It's gonna be a long day. Yeah. Come here, Audrey. I have to come to work, Audrey. And if anybody harass me about that, it's not gonna kill her. Okay? She had to let it cool off today. Otherwise, I would have already given it to her privately. Come here. Come. You gotta come out better than that, baby. Oh. There we go. Is that better? That's enough, baby. Hey, go see Kristen. Uh-oh. Maybe she's gonna rest. Come on. I'll pick you back up. It's okay, I got her. Maybe she wants to listen. Uh-oh, she's calling. Alright, that's enough. It's okay, she can stay. There we go. She looks like a burrito. Okay, let's get started. I can't believe yesterday's was all muted. Today's we're gonna just listen. So maybe I'm gonna do it like a colored chat. Not colored chat. You can watch me color the mice. Is anybody here? I'm not yet. The mice. Well, the mice's page. Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come soon. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today the food we need, and forgive us our sins, as we have forgiven those who sin against us. And don't let us yield to temptation, but rescue us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Jehovah, thank you for another beautiful day on your beautiful earth. And thank you for what you did for us in the past, present, and what you will do for us in the future. And thank you for allowing us to wake up today. No, I didn't mess up. We can switch it around. Please help give Kristen mental and physical strength to get through what she's going through. Help Danielle in mental status. Get her mentally well and physically well. She's a very sick woman. Continue to help Tate, Cindy Lee, King Charles, Dave Coulier. They all have cancer, different types, different kinds, different stages, I should say. Celine Dion has stiff person syndrome. It comes with seizures and a lot of pain. Continue to help Jenny with her knee pain and recovery. Help Tiffany with the breathing problem. Tiffany, Robin Taylor with her. Oh boy. She has a lot of stuff. Alright. I should have her write it all down, then I can tell you it all a couple times. So she does have fibromyalgia. Oh wow, I said it. Fibromyalgia. She has esophagus issues, back issues. She was just diagnosed with vertigo. And she has other stuff too. Miss Diane and daughters. Miss Diane is very stubborn. She won't stay in the hospital where she can get the best care. but she goes home. Arnie, Carol, the mom, Vicky, and her family is still very sick at this moment, so give her the physical strength to get through this. And please give me physical strength to have a busy weekend. I'm going out Friday at 10:30. Saturday just at 12. And that's an all day thing. Sunday is the meeting. No more missing meetings because I'm tired. But I have to go. I have to go to these things. I have to get out in the world. So just give me physical, mental strength to get through this weekend and today, so I can get better. Cause yeah. All right. Thank you, Joel. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, let's do something. Yeah, I can't download TikTok on my iPad. Through the search bar again. It's weird. Okay. What are we doing? Yesterday's verse yeah, yesterday. So we're gonna do yesterday's devotions. Oh, there's no more pictures on here. There's no more. Oh no, that's the last one. You idiot. I'm. Oh boy. Kristen, what you downloaded is the videos on it when TikTok does go down. So I got TikTok, but not as an app. It's just on the internet. I guess if you know what I mean. Who was that out there? Okay, let's get this started. Wednesday, February 5th, yesterday. The hour is coming in which all those in the memorial tombs will hear his voice and come out. John chapter 5, verses 28 and 29. From time to time, we all do well to reflect on the Bible's promise of a future resurrection. Why? Because we never know when we might face a life-threatening illness or suddenly lose someone we love in death. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. And James chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. Our resurrection hope can help us endure such challenges. What's wrong? You want to get down? You want to get down? Once you get down, go see Kristen. Go ahead. Go see Kristen. Here we go. Our resurrection hope can help us endure such challenges. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13. The scriptures assure us that our Heavenly Father knows us well and loves us dearly. Luke chapter 12, verse 7. Think of how well Jehovah God must know us in order to recreate us with our personality and memories and how loving of Jehovah to give us the opportunity for everlasting life, even by resurrecting us if necessary. Hey, why can't we believe in the resurrection promise? Because we are convinced that the one making the promise has the desire. Wait. Let's start over from the word because. No. Why can we believe in the resurrection promise, because we are convinced that the one making the promise has the desire as well as the power or ability to fulfill it. Yes. Well, I read that better than yesterday. I am feeling better. I didn't get out of bed until 8. I said, it'll be there. It will be there. I want to make sure this is still working. Oh, you don't see much of it. Body down. On that. Body down. Okay. I'm good. La di da da la di da da. What's the name of that song? Okay, now we'll read the scriptures. John chapter 5, verses 28 and 29. Do not be amazed at this, for the hour is coming in which all those in the memorial tomb will hear his voice and come out, those who did good things to a resurrection of life, and those who practice vile things to a resurrection of judgment. Nope, wrong one. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. I have seen something further under the sun, that the swift do not always win the race, nor do the mighty win the battle, nor do the wise always have the food, nor do the intelligent always have the riches, nor do those who knowledge, um, um, nor do those with knowledge always have success, because time and unexpected events overtake them all. I surely love that verse. I'm going to highlight it. I got to go to the thing. I sure like that one. That's highlighted. James chapter 4, verse 13 and 14. Come now, who say today or tomorrow we will travel to this city and will spend a year there, and we will do business and make some profit. Whereas you do not know what your life will be like tomorrow, for you are a mist that appears for a little while and then disappears. First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13. Moreover, brothers, we do not want you to be arrogant about those who are sleeping in death, so that you may not sorrow as the rest do who have no hope. Luke chapter 12, verse 7. But even the hairs on your head are all numbered. Have no fear. You are worth more than many sparrows. See, I don't even remember reading any of this yesterday. I can't go back and see because it was all muted. And there was no one here. That is it for that. And now we just listen to um, Second Kings. If you have any questions about this, you can ask me anything. There's no 26. Okay, hold on. (21 through 25). That's it of this book.
Years old when he became king. Chapter 21. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hephzibah. He did what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, following the detestable practices of the nations that Jehovah had driven out from before the people of Israel. He rebuilt the high places that his father Hezekiah had destroyed, and he set up altars to Baal and made a sacred pole, just as Ahab, the king of Israel, had done. And he bowed down to all the army of the heavens and served them. He also built altars in the house of Jehovah, about which Jehovah had said, "In Jerusalem I will put my name." And he built altars to all the army of the heavens in 2 courtyards of the house of Jehovah. And he made his own son pass through the fire. He practiced magic, looked for omens, and appointed spirit mediums and fortune tellers. He did on a grand scale what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, to offend him. He put the carved image of the sacred pole that he made into the house about which Jehovah had said to David and to his son Solomon, "In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will permanently put my name. And I will never again make the feet of Israel wander from the land that I gave to their forefathers, provided they carefully observe all that I have commanded them, the entire law that my servant Moses ordered them to follow." But they did not obey, and Manasseh kept leading them astray, causing them to do greater evil than the nations that Jehovah had annihilated from before the Israelites. Jehovah kept speaking through his servants the prophets, saying, "Manasseh the king of Judah has done all these detestable things. He has acted more wickedly than all the Amorites before him, and he has made Judah sin with his disgusting idols. Therefore this is what Jehovah the God of Israel says. Here I am bringing such a disaster on Jerusalem and Judah that it will make both ears of anyone who hears about it tingle. And I will stretch out on Jerusalem the measuring line applied to Samaria, and use the leveling tool applied to the house of Ahab. And I will wipe Jerusalem clean, just as one wipes a bowl clean, wiping it and turning it upside down. I will forsake the remnant of my inheritance, and give them into the hand of their enemies, and they will become plunder and spoil to all their enemies, because they did what was bad in my eyes, and were continually offending me, from the day that their forefathers came out of Egypt to this day. Manasseh also shed innocent blood in very great quantity, until he had filled Jerusalem from one end to the other, besides his sin of causing Judah to sin by doing what was bad in the eyes of Jehovah. As for the rest of the history of Manasseh, and all that he did, and the sins that he committed, are they not written in the book of the history of the times of the kings of Judah? Then Manasseh was laid to rest with his forefathers, and was buried in the garden of his house, in the garden of Uzzah, and his son Amon became king in his place. Amon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 2 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Meshullemeth, the daughter of Haruz from Jotbah. He continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, just as his father Manasseh had done. He kept walking in all the ways that his father walked, and he continued serving and bowing down to the disgusting idols that his father had served. So he abandoned Jehovah, the God of his forefathers, and he did not walk in the way of Jehovah. Eventually, Amon's servants conspired against him and put the king to death in his own house. But the people of the land struck down all those who conspired against King Amon, and they made his son Josiah king in his place. As for the rest of the history of Amon, what he did, is it not written in the book of the history of the times of the kings of Judah? So they buried him in his grave in the garden of Uzzah, and his son Josiah became king in his place. Chapter 22. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 31 years in Jerusalem.
Wow.
His mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Adiah from Bozkath. He did what was right in Jehovah's eyes, and walked in all the ways of David his forefather, and he did not deviate to the right or to the left. In the 18th year of King Josiah, the king sent Shaphan the secretary, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, to the house of Jehovah, saying,
"Go up to Hilkiah the high priest, and let him collect all the money that is being brought into the house of Jehovah, which the doorkeepers have collected from the people. Have them give it to those appointed over the work in the house of Jehovah, who, in turn, will give it to the workers in the house of Jehovah who are to repair the damage to the house. That is, to the craftsmen, the builders, and the masons. And they are to use it to buy timbers and hewn stones to repair the house. But no accounting should be required of them for the money that they are given, because they are trustworthy."
Later, Hilkiah the high priest said to Shaphan the secretary,
"I have found the book of the law in the house of Jehovah."
So Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, who began to read it. Then Shaphan the secretary went to the king and told him,
"Your servants have poured out the money that was found in the house, and they have handed it over to those appointed over the work in the house of Jehovah."
Shaphan the secretary also told the king,
"There is a book that Hilkiah the priest has given me."
Then Shaphan began to read it before the king. As soon as the king heard the words of the book of the law, he ripped his garments apart. Then the king gave this order to Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam the son of Shaphan, Achbor the son of Micaiah, Shaphan the secretary, and Asaiah the king's servant.
"Go, inquire of Jehovah in my behalf, in behalf of the people, and in behalf of all Judah concerning the words of this book that has been found. For Jehovah's rage that has been set ablaze against us is great, because our forefathers did not obey the words of this book by observing all that is written concerning us."
So Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam, Achbor, Shaphan, and Asaiah went to Huldah the prophetess. She was the wife of Shallum, son of Tikvah, son of Harhas, the caretaker of the wardrobe, and she was dwelling in the second quarter of Jerusalem. And they spoke to her there. She said to them,
"This is what Jehovah, the God of Israel, says. Tell the man who sent you to me. This is what Jehovah says. I will bring calamity on this place and its inhabitants. All the words of the book that the king of Judah has read. Because they have abandoned me and are making sacrifices to other gods in order to offend me with all the work of their hands, my rage will be set ablaze against this place, and it will not be extinguished. But to the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of Jehovah, this is what you should say to him. This is what Jehovah, the God of Israel, says. Regarding the words that you have heard, because your heart was responsive, and you humbled yourself before Jehovah, on hearing what I have spoken against this place and its inhabitants, that they would become an object of horror and a curse, and you ripped your garments apart and wept before me. I also have heard you, declares Jehovah. That is why I will gather you to your ancestors, and you will be laid in your grave in peace, and your eyes will not see all the calamity that I will bring on this place.
Ooh.
Then they brought the reply to the king.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 23. So the king sent word, and they summoned all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. After that, the king went up to the house of Jehovah with all the men of Judah, all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests and prophets, all the people from small to great. He read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant that had been found in the house of Jehovah. The king stood by the pillar and made a covenant before Jehovah, that he would follow Jehovah and keep his commandments, his reminders, and his statutes with all his heart and with all his soul, by carrying out the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people agreed to the covenant. The king then ordered Hilkiah the high priest, the priests of the second rank, and the doorkeepers to bring out from the temple of Jehovah all the utensils made for Baal, for the sacred pole, and for all the army of the heavens. Then he burned them outside Jerusalem on the terraces of Kidron, and he took their ashes to Bethel. So he put out of business the foreign god priests, whom the kings of Judah had appointed to make sacrificial smoke on the high places in the cities of Judah and the surroundings of Jerusalem, as well as those making sacrificial smoke to Baal, to the sun, to the moon, to the constellations of the zodiac, and to all the army of the heavens. He brought the sacred pole out from the house of Jehovah to the outskirts of Jerusalem, to the Kidron Valley, and he burned it in the Kidron Valley, and ground it to dust, and scattered its dust on the graves of the common people. He also tore down the houses of the male temple prostitutes, which were in the house of Jehovah, and where the women were weaving tent shrines for the sacred pole. Then he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and he made unfit for worship the high places where the priests had been making sacrificial smoke, from Geba to Beersheba. He also tore down the high places of the gates that were at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the chief of the city, which were on the left as one entered the city gate. The priests of the high places did not serve at the altar of Jehovah in Jerusalem, but they did eat unleavened bread along with their brothers. He also made...
I'm gonna let this run, but I really have to go to the ladies' room. I'll be right back.
unfit for worship Topheth, which is in the valley of the sons of Hinnom, so that no one could make his son or his daughter pass through the fire to Molech. And he prohibited the horses that the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun from entering the house of Jehovah by the chamber of Nathan Melech the court official, which was in the porticos. And he burned the chariots of the sun in the fire. The king also tore down the altars that the kings of Judah had set up on the roof of Ahaz's upper chamber, as well as the altars that Manasseh had set up in 2 courtyards of the house of Jehovah. He crushed them and scattered their dust in the Kidron Valley. And the king made unfit for worship the high places in front of Jerusalem that were to the south of the Mount of Ruination, which Solomon the king of Israel had built to Ashtoreth, the disgusting goddess of the Sidonians, and to Chemosh, the disgusting god of Moab, and to Milcom, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He broke the sacred pillars to pieces, and cut down the sacred poles, and filled their places with human bones. He also tore down the altar in Bethel, the high place that Jeroboam the son of Nebat had made, that caused Israel to sin. After tearing down that altar and the high place, he burned the high place, ground it to dust, and burned the sacred pole. When Josiah turned and saw the graves on the mountain, he had the bones taken from the graves and burned them on the altar, making it unfit for worship, according to Jehovah's word that had been proclaimed by the man of the true God, who foretold that these things would happen. Then he said,
What is the gravestone over there that I am looking at?
At this the men of the city said to him,
It is the grave of the man of the true God from Judah, who foretold these things that you have done against the altar of Bethel.
So he said,
Let him rest. Do not let anyone disturb his bones.
So they left his bones undisturbed, as well as the bones of the prophet who had come from Samaria. Josiah also removed all the houses of worship on the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had built to offend God, and he did the same thing to them that he had done at Bethel. So he sacrificed on the altars all the priests of the high places who were there, and he burned human bones on them. After that, he returned to Jerusalem. The king now commanded all the people,
Hold a Passover to Jehovah your God, as is written in this book of the covenant.
No Passover like this had been held since the days when the judges had judged Israel, or in all the days of the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover to Jehovah was held in Jerusalem. Josiah also cleared out the spirit mediums, the fortune tellers, the teraphim statues, the disgusting idols, and all the disgusting things that had appeared in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem, in order to carry out the words of the law that were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest had found in the house of Jehovah. There was no king like him prior to him who returned to Jehovah with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his strength, according to all the law of Moses. Nor did anyone like him rise up after him. Nevertheless, Jehovah did not turn away from his burning anger that blazed against Judah, because of all the offensive things that Manasseh had done to offend him. Jehovah said, I will also remove Judah from my sight, just as I removed Israel. And I will reject this city that I chose, Jerusalem, and the house about which I said, My name will continue there. As for the rest of the history of Josiah, all that he did, is it not written in the book of the history of the times of the kings of Judah? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, the king of Egypt, came to meet the king of Assyria by the Euphrates River, and King Josiah went out to confront him. But when Necho saw him, he put him to death at Megiddo. So his servants transported his dead body in a chariot from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his grave. Then the people of the land took Josiah's son Jehoahaz, and anointed him, and made him king in place of his father. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. He began to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, according to all that his forefathers had done. Pharaoh Necho imprisoned him at Riblah in the land of Hamath, to keep him from reigning in Jerusalem, and then imposed on the land a fine of 100 silver talents and a gold talent. Furthermore, Pharaoh Necho made Josiah's son Eliakim king in place of his father Josiah, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. But he took Jehoahaz and brought him to Egypt, where he eventually died. Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he had to tax the land to give the silver that Pharaoh demanded. He exacted an assessed amount of silver and gold from each of the people of the land to give to Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebidah, the daughter of Pedaiah from Rumah. he continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, according to all that his forefathers had done.
I was gonna call her. Uh-oh, what happened? Let's see where we were what,
So he said, let him rest. Do not let anyone disturb his bones. But they left his bones undisturbed, as well as the bones of the prophets who had come from Samaria. Josiah also removed all the houses of worship on the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had built to offend God. And he did the same thing to them that he had done at Bethel. So he sacrificed on the altars all the priests of the high places who were there. And he
I'm sorry, I just don't know where we left off.
after that, he returned.
Is there anybody here?
The king now commanded all the people, hold the Passover to Jehovah your God, as is written in this book of the covenant. No Passover like this has been held since the days when the judges had judged Israel, or in all the days of the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover to Jehovah was held in Jerusalem. Josiah also cleared out
You know what? Let's see where it, stopped.
people of the land to give to Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebidah, the daughter of Pedaiah from Rumah. He continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, according to all that his forefathers had done.
Okay, we were going into chapter 24. Oh, what did he do? Play audio. Let's see where we were. All right, I'm sorry.
Chapter 24. In Jehoiakim's days, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came against him, and Jehoiakim became his servant for 3 years. However, he turned against him and rebelled. Then Jehovah began to send against him marauder bands of Chaldeans, Syrians, Moabites, and Ammonites. He kept sending them against Judah to destroy it, according to Jehovah's word that he had spoken through his servants, the prophets. Surely it was by the order of Jehovah that this happened to Judah, to remove them from his sight, because of all the sins that Manasseh had committed, and also the innocent blood that he had shed. For he had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and Jehovah was not willing to forgive. As for the rest of the history of Jehoiakim, all that he did, is it not written in the book of the history of the times of the kings of Judah? Then Jehoiakim was laid to rest with his forefathers, and his son Jehoiakim became king in his place. Never again did the king of Egypt venture out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken all that belonged to the king of Egypt, from the Wadi of Egypt up to the Euphrates River. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. He continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, according to all that his father had done. During that time, the servants of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came up against Jerusalem, and the city came under siege. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to the city while his servants were laying siege to it. King Jehoiakim of Judah went out to the king of Babylon, along with his mother, his servants, his princes, and his court officials. And the king of Babylon took him captive in the 8th year of his reign. Then he took out from there all the treasures of the house of Jehovah, and the treasures of the king's house. He cut into pieces all the gold utensils that Solomon the king of Israel had made in the temple of Jehovah. This happened just as Jehovah had foretold. He took into exile all Jerusalem, all the princes, all the mighty warriors, and every craftsman and metal worker. He took 10,000 into exile. No one was left behind except the poorest people of the land. Thus he took Jehoiakim into exile to Babylon. He also led away the king's mother, the king's wives, his court officials, and the foremost men of the land, taking them in.
Can you call her? Go see Kristen. Ivy, go see Kristen.
Ivy.
It's just, I need to get this done. I just need to get this done.
Ivy, go. Come on. Come here.
To exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. The king of Babylon also took into exile to Babylon all the warriors, 7,000, as well as 1,000 craftsmen and metal workers, all of them mighty men and trained for war. The king of Babylon made Mattaniah, Jehoiakim's uncle, king in his place, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. He continued to do what was bad in Jehovah's eyes, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. It was because of Jehovah's anger that these things took place in Jerusalem and in Judah, until he cast them out of his sight. And Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Chapter 25. In the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came with all his army against Jerusalem. He camped against it and built a siege wall all around it, and the city was under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine was severe in the city, and there was no food for the people of the land. The city wall was broken through, and all the soldiers fled by night through the gate between the double wall, near the king's garden, while the Chaldeans were surrounding the city. And the king went by the way of the Arabah. But the Chaldean army pursued the king, and they overtook him in the desert plains of Jericho, and all his troops were scattered from his side. Then they seized the king, and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah, and they passed sentence on him. They slaughtered Zedekiah's sons before his eyes. Then Nebuchadnezzar blinded Zedekiah's eyes, bound him with copper fetters, and brought him to Babylon. In the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, that is, in the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, the servant of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He burned down the house of Jehovah, the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem. He also burned down the house of every prominent. The walls surrounding Jerusalem were pulled down by the entire Chaldean army that was with the chief of the guard. Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, took into exile the rest of the people who were left in the city, the deserters who had gone over to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the population. But the chief of the guard left some of the poorest people of the land to serve as vine dressers and as compulsory laborers. And the Chaldeans broke into pieces the copper pillars of the house of Jehovah, and the carriages, and the copper sea that were in the house of Jehovah. And they carried the copper away to Babylon. They also took the cans, the shovels, the extinguishers, the cups, and all the copper utensils used in the temple service. The chief of the guard took the fire holders and the bowls that were of genuine gold and silver. As for the 2 pillars, the sea, and the carriages that Solomon had made for the house of Jehovah, the copper of all these articles was beyond weighing. Each pillar was 18 cubits high, and the capital on it was of copper, and the height of the capital was 3 cubits. And the network and pomegranates all around on the capital were all made of copper. The second pillar with its network was like it. The chief of the guard also took Seraiah the chief priest, Zephaniah the second priest, and the 3 doorkeepers. And he took from the city 1 court official who was the commissioner over the soldiers, 5 close associates of the king who were found in the city, as well as the secretary of the chief of the army, the one mustering the people of the land, and 60 men of the common people of the land who were yet found in the city. Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. The king of Babylon struck them down and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah went into exile from its land. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon appointed Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, over the people whom he had left behind in the land of Judah. When all the army chiefs and their men heard that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah, they immediately came to Gedaliah at Mizpah. They were Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, Johanan, the son of Kareah, Seraiah, the son of Tanhumeth, the Netophathite, and Jaazaniah, the son of the Maacathite, together with their men. Gedaliah swore an oath to them and their men and said to them,
"Do not be afraid of being servants to the Chaldeans. Live in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it will go well with you."
And in the 7th month, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, son of Elishama, who was of the royal line, came with 10 other men, and they struck down Gedaliah, and he died, along with the Jews and the Chaldeans who were with him in Mizpah. After that, all the people, from small to great, including the army chiefs, rose up and went to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldeans. And in the 37th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, King Evil-Merodach of Babylon, in the year he became king, released King Jehoiakim of Judah from prison. He spoke kindly with him, and put his throne higher than the thrones of the other kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiakim took off his prison garments, and he regularly ate before him all the days of his life. A regular allowance of food was given him from the king, day after day, all the days of his life.
And that is it. We did it. We did 2 days of devotions. Now, I'm so sorry that happened. If it happens again in the future, can someone please leave a comment somewhere that it was muted, there was no sound or anything. Alright. Alright. You can get down now. Go see Kristen. Go see Kristen. Please. That's okay. I'm just about done now, so it's okay. She wanted to watch the construction guys. Yeah. Yep. She's my dog. She should be my mom's dog. Looking at men in uniform. Alright, so Carol. I am going to show this. It's not showing nothing really. So, Matthew. Oh, Mark. Mark 1, 11 through 15. A voice came out of the heavens. You are my son, the beloved. I have approached you. I'm sorry. I approved you. And immediately the Spirit impelled him to go into the wilderness. So he continued in the wilderness for 40 days, being tempted by Satan. He was with the wild beasts, but the angels were ministering to him. Now after John was arrested, Jesus went into Galilee, preaching the good news of God, and saying the appointed time has been fulfilled, and the kingdom of God has drawn near. Near. Repent and have faith in the good news. Next is Matthew. I'm just reading them now, Carol. In Matthew chapter 2, 12 and 14. 12 through 14. 12 through 14. Alright, yeah, Matthew chapter 2, verses 12 through 14. However, because they were given divine warning in a dream, not to return to Haran, they departed from the country by another way. After they had departed, look, Jehovah's angels appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Get up, take the young child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and stay there until I give you word. For Herod is about to search for the young child to kill him. So Joseph got up and by night took along the young child and the child's mother and went to Egypt. And that is it for today. I will be on later on for coloring, maybe close to 12 like we've been doing. Alright. Now, after I think I had to put in a load of laundry, not a big load. I don't feel like doing a big load. Just enough for the next days and for the meeting on Sunday. Then after that, the next week I'll just do all my laundry. But anyway, I have to do that and then later on take my shower. Because you gotta have your hair freshly washed to get it washed again to get it done. It's weird. It's weird. You have to wash the hair. This one place said the hair has to be washed today so they can wash it. So I washed it later to get all the loose hair out. I'm like, seriously? And he says, but you're gonna be washing it while you're there. Why do I have to wash it? So it's clean, or my hair's always clean. You know, people like, ew, is it clean? So I get it though. But it is clean though. I washed it this morning and blow dried it. And I went there and she goes, oh yeah, I know you. You're clean. So I'll see you later. Love, don't judge, don't hold a grudge. Peace out.